Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. You're tuning in to the Ask Dr. Ernst show. We're broadcasting live on Fox Sports Charlotte. Today I have a very special guest, co-host of my radio show. Normally, you guys know we've been on WBT for years.
Yep.
New to the Fox Sports channels, but Dr. Chris Demczar
so excited
is in
to
the
be
house
here.
today.
Yes, can't wait.
He is one of the associate physicians in my North Charlotte practice and the lead chiropractic physician there. And today we're going to talk together about this concept known as your third master healing system. So my name is Dr. Aaron Ernst. I have Dr. Chris Demczar with me. Last 2 weeks, if you guys have been paying attention at all, hopefully you're a, what would that be called? A
repeat listener?
Repeat listener. That's great. You listen to the Ask Dr. Ernst show every Saturday at 12 noon. You podcast us. You binge us because, listen, we exist to teach you how to heal yourself. And in all the years you've been in practice, doesn't it come sometimes as a shock? Patients will be like, I never knew this could get better. And I didn't realize how easy it was.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
And we've seen, give me just a couple things you've seen that would like classically, medically not be something you can heal from that in the last 90 days has had a result in our clinic.
Yeah, well, something as simple as just diabetes and insulin control. Right, something that somebody was like, yeah, it's always going to be like this. I just have to manage it for the rest of my life.
Yep.
But lo and behold, you change a few things, heal the root systems, and next thing you know, that insulin control that patient thought was never going to be able to heal or never going to be able to be unmanaged again is now managed, and the body is healing on its own.
And you're using medical words. You can hear he's a physician, right? Insulin control. Their sugars got better.
Yes.
They were able to get off their medications.
That's right.
We've seen it with depression. Anxiety, right? A lot of our patients have shifted and lowered their need for the feel-good pills.
Yep.
What just happened recently. Blood pressure. PTSD. Psoriasis. We had that one patient who it was all over the back of their neck. And we were like celebrating. Guys, we took a picture. I know it sounds weird, but we took a picture of the back of her neck. And she was like, oh my God, jumping for joy. Because if you've dealt with psoriasis, it's disgusting and it's nasty looking.
Yep. Or even there's some of the deeper things, you know, certain therapies that we will put certain patients on will elicit some sort of like a skin rash as their body's trying to purge toxins out of them. And so for them to go through that, eliminate the rash is absolutely fantastic. And so to see those patients have a rash, know that their body's purging a toxin, and then the rash goes away all on its own because it's the body healing mechanism, it's just absolutely amazing to see the patient transform.
It's the same thing with blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. Today we're talking about your third healing system. And so to tee it off, we began 3 weeks ago with your master system, okay, the nerve system, and how brain-body connection has been studied over and over and over again. You can go to WebMD and just type in brain-body connection.
Right.
How does your brain communicate with the organs, cells, and tissues? Its efficiency drives your health. Then last week, we talked very deeply about how your gut is technically your second brain and how up to 80% of your immunity lives in your gut. So if you have a leaky gut or dysbiosis or a fungal infection, that can prevent you from healing. So the second healing system is a clean, sealed gut.
Yep.
The third healing system, and this is a tough one because I think today it's becoming more prevalent to have an interference with this.
Yes.
If you were to rewind the clock 100 years ago, there weren't as many attacks against this system.
Right. Right. And we've always had this system. It's not like this is some new thing that's just popped out of nowhere, but it's more like our body's ability to use this system has become so overburdened. And so now we're seeing as one of the root issues that's causing so many other health concerns.
And it is your detox system. So I think, and tell me, maybe use the chats. Look, guys, we're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube Live. The key is Ask Dr. Ernst. If you would agree with me, we were designed and created, and it's not like God went, man, I didn't know about that in the future. And he built a system in us that can clean things out, okay? And detox is technically multitudes of systems. Your lungs are involved, your skin is involved, your sweat is involved, your kidneys are involved, your gallbladder, your pancreas, your intestines. But if we had to list like numero uno head honcho for detox, what organ would you say it is?
100% the liver.
And here's the thing. A lot of people don't pay enough attention to their liver until when?
until there's already something severely
But
wrong.
it's like very,
Yes.
very bad. Like
Well-
if you have a doctor, MD, saying, hey, your liver needs some love, you
Yeah.
know it's bad.
Right. Well, and because you're not really going to know that there's some massive dysfunction going on in your liver until it's already too late. Your body is so innately intelligent to just say, hey, we got to keep going. We got to keep working. We got to keep functioning. And the liver will just keep going and going and going, right? It's that engine that never stops until it absolutely can't anymore and it has to start to break down.
And without naming names, there's been multitudes of patients that meet with us and we'll say, you know, you have a fatty liver or you have phase 1 liver. And they're like, what? I had no idea. Right. A lot of times they're not tested for it properly. B, there are no symptoms of liver disease until it's extreme.
Yeah.
But then guess what it is? You look like a yellow alien, your eyes are turning yellow, and you smell like ammonia, and you know your nails are curling, and so like really
abdominal swelling. Those
but
types
that's
of
like
things.
end stage 4 liver failure.
Yep.
So today we're going to talk about how your liver plays a key role in your healing. It regulates your inflammation. Your liver is actually connected to your gut health.
100%.
And the sensitivities that we have when it comes to things like chemicals and toxins. The trend that we see in functional medicine is the liver is very important.
Yeah.
But in medicine, it's not so much important.
Right.
And they'll classify the drugs you take as more important. But isn't it funny that they say, well, we need to make sure your liver enzymes are checked while you're on this dangerous drug because it could hurt your liver.
I was just going to say, how does the liver medically get put on the back burner, but then they'll prescribe medications to patients that are only going to toxify the liver further?
Yeah.
It's kind of a
Well, it's a
catch-22.
conundrum of the approach, right?
Yes.
So if your approach is to make your symptoms go away and make your labs look good, that's medicine, and they don't really care so much about what the liver's function is behind this.
Right.
So just so you guys know, your liver has 2 primary detox pathways that are extremely important, and most people, A, have never had it tested for the efficiency. B, they're like, wait, what? Phase what? Okay, phase 1 is known as biotransformation. The long story short, it's the ability for your liver to take toxins and transport them into a chemical that is able to be exported. So for example, fat-soluble toxin has to become water-soluble so it comes out. Or a heavy metal needs to be conjugated, connected to either a sugar or a protein so it can be excreted. So it has to transform the toxin into a chemical that can be excreted. And conjugation is also another very important process, phase 2, which is done either by methylating. Again, these are huge words.
big words.
All that means is the toxin has a methyl group attached to it so that it can be excreted. Glucuronidation, which is where we add a sugar to it. Or sulfonation, where we add sulfur to it, or acetylation, which is a fancy term for adding an acetyl group to it. It's a carbon with 3 hydrogens. And also conjugation with glutathione. So just know, if you think we're speaking Greek to you, you have to learn Greek. If you want to heal, you have to become so knowledgeable and so educated about your liver, because it's going to be one of 2 things. You either eliminate the toxins or you just recirculate. And the problem with recirculation is that creates symptoms, and then your doctor's going to get confused, and they're going to give you a prescription that's only going to make you more toxic. So do you see, the more toxic you become, the sicker you get, but the medications that you take are often creating the very toxicity that we're trying to get rid of.
Exactly.
So I want to talk real quick about this idea of liver function and brain health, because as a chiropractor, you know how important brain health is.
Absolutely.
And we're not just talking about like, do you remember and can you, recall past events and are you brain foggy or not? We're literally talking about how your brain communicates to every organ in your body, telling it what to do.
Right.
Well, here's the new research. They have found out that the liver also communicates back to the brain and to other organs.
Of course it does. And what's wild is, even though the liver may be dysfunctional and you may have some toxic buildup going on, whether it's a heavy metal, whether it's something fat soluble, whatever it is, your body's going to continue to work, your liver is going to continue to work, right? But what's wild is as the inflammation processes start to build up, and that's what's going to happen. There's a slow increase in inflammation, the slow increase in swelling. Your body is then going to try to communicate that to the brain, and that's the system that's going to start to get shut off. Yep. That's when the signals going back to the brain stop working the way that they're designed. That's where major neurological issues start to show up.
So let's break this down for the average listener.
Yep.
How would they know if their liver has stopped talking to their brain? Okay, well, number one, they could be extremely fatigued.
Yes.
And there's a reason for this. The liver's job is to metabolize fats, proteins, and carbs and turn them into energy and distribute all of your nutrients. Like, you probably know this, but I doubt they do. When I eat a carrot and it has beta carotene and, vitamin C and vitamin, B6, and it's just loaded with all kinds of nutrients, right? All the phytonutrients, the phytochemicals. They're absorbed through my intestines through a special vein that carries the nutrients straight to the liver first. So if you didn't know this, all food you eat must go through your liver first before it's distributed to your body.
Yeah, anything that we absorb through our intestines isn't just magically put into our bloodstream.
Thank God for that, because sometimes you guys absorb some nasty stuff. So think of the liver as a filter, and that's primarily what it is.
Yep.
But it also, they're finding out, this is new research, that as those nutrients, the carotenoids, the phytonutrients, the beta carotene, the vitamin C, the vitamin A, as those things get to the liver goes like this. Hey, vitamin C, you need to go to the left eyeball. And beta carotene to the heart. And the carotenoids, hey, the left knee, they really need carotenoids. So the liver is now tagging
it's like a switchboard.
Nutrients for where to go. And what's unique is the brain tells the liver how to do that. And then watch, the liver tells the brain, hey, I sent what the joints need, so now you can heal them. And this is this crosstalk, as they call it, between the brain and the liver. But now watch this. It's also the liver and the heart, and the liver and the pancreas, and the liver and your left knee. So if you're tired all the time, if you're having difficulty with sort of focus and memory and attention, or you're feeling super uber like anxious or depressed, or you're not sleeping very well, right there, classic sign that the liver is not communicating properly.
Exactly.
So let's do something fun. You have a special event coming up in a couple weeks. I think it's the 29th. Is that correct?
October 29th. Yep.
And you're going to do a free webinar on energy metabolism and maximizing, I'll call it healing through engaging this liver to brain, liver to organ communication.
Exactly. Yeah. I just want to shed some light on exactly how energy in our body is created, how it's utilized, how our body is so efficient at determining what macronutrients are going to be used for energy, where in the body, and then how the nervous system, which is the master control system, is able to then help communicate and take and transport that energy wherever it needs to go.
And listen, if you're going like, I wonder if I should get on that, okay? Are you tired? Could you use more energy? Okay, I'm going to be transparent. The answer is yes. Every single person we meet with, it happened yesterday. I have a magic wand. If I could take one condition and heal it immediately, bing, what would it be? Everybody's like, I'd want more energy.
Right.
I'd want more energy.
I want to sleep better.
So if you need to sleep better, if you need to decrease your anxiety and your stress, if you need more energy, that's the reason to join us. What is it, like 2-3 weeks from today?
Exactly.
Saturday the 29th. It's at 10 a.m. in the morning. It is a free webinar. Live. He'll come straight into your house through the powers of, Zoom and whatever system we use and talk directly to you, but you need to register. We're also going to give away a free ebook on engaging energy and metabolism. So it's a specific energy ebook.
That's right.
So the ebook will explain all the processes of how you're supposed to make energy, go through some of the most reasons why you're not, and then Dr. Chris here is going to show you how to fix that.
That's right.
And it's on the 29th. So what's the number they need to dial or text to get the access tickets?
704-906-2094.
That's right. So real simple, guys. Pick up your phone now and just dial these digits, 704-906-2094. If you want to talk to someone, our call center, they'll pick up and they're going to just ask for your name and email. But if you're, super efficient and it's 2022, just text your first and last name and email to that same number, which is
704-906-2094.
And again, we'll make a couple announcements as we go through the hour about that. Also, we got to talk real deep about this concept of there's generally 5 or 4 different sub-classifications of toxins that affect the liver. Because, I'm seeing people, they often ask like, well, how did my liver get like this? Like, how did it get fatty? Or why are my enzymes elevated?
Yep.
And I want you to break down these subtoxic groups, and then we're going to go into where do they come from? How do we expose to it? And the best part, guys, what can you do right now today?
That's right. There's got to be some action
steps. Letting your liver kind of rest and heal by itself. So what are the 4 subcategories of different toxins that can affect liver function?
Right. So the first one is just what you said, the general toxic load. And so what does toxic load means? It means all the chemicals that you're putting in and on your body that your liver is going, whoa, this isn't something normal. This isn't something found in the earth naturally. This is something that was man-made, synthetic, and then I now have to deal with it in the liver and your liver's going, oh my gosh, I have no idea what to do. Or it knows what to do, but it then makes a lot of other things much harder.
So this is like the soaps and the detergents and the sprays, the lotions, the creams, all the stuff. Like if you can't pronounce the ingredient, that's a toxin.
Synthetically made toxin. Or we can go deeper with like the pesticides and the Roundup used in our lawn. So then the water we're drinking has that in it. So it's all the little
heavy
things
metals,
that you're barely thinking of. Right.
Okay.
So
that's class number 1, guys. You've got to pay attention to the, I'll call it chemical-based toxic load. And in fairness, that's probably like numero uno on the list for today.
Definitely.
What's the second major toxicological load for the liver?
It's the pathogenic load. And so pathogens, right? We know those as bacteria, viruses. They can also include funguses and parasites. And a lot of those are found naturally within our gut system. If you've been listening to the radio show, especially the one last weekend, you should have, Dr. Ernst talked about the normal bacteria, the normal pathogens that are found inside of our gut. But what happens is when those become out of alignment, when there is more of one, less of another, then there's an abnormal function within our gut, and then that can lead to a toxic process.
Especially if there's a leak, because the dysbiosis or the overgrowth of the viruses, bacteria, and fungus can actually irritate the colon, and then they get right into the bloodstream. And because that blood goes straight to the liver, now the liver has a pathogenic overload to it.
And so there I love that because you just combined 2 of what we just chatted about, the toxic load and the pathogenic load. If there's a leak, most likely there is a toxic cause to that leak within the gut. And then the pathogens now have an opportunity to invade the bloodstream. And now we have this pathogenic load on the liver that the liver is trying to detoxify from.
And let's just make sure we're clear. Like, they don't go straight into the bloodstream. They go into that hepatic
the
portal vein, which carries all the blood from your gut to your liver first.
Yes.
Now, think about the brilliance of how God designed this. He's like, hey, in 2022, people are going to just poison themselves. Let's build a system that can filter the things they get exposed to protect them. But if you overburden that system, you get sick because then the liver's kind of like, well, I tried, but it got through, and now it's in your bloodstream. Okay, third is a tough one for a lot of people. So let's describe this because we're going to have to go into this today.
Dietary proteins, which those proteins are what the specific things that lead to your food sensitivities and the allergens, right? You say, oh, I'm allergic to this. I'm allergic to nuts or shells or, shellfish or what have you. It's coming from those specific proteins.
And these are proteins that you wouldn't normally see in the blood because they're usually undigested bits and pieces. So when you said like a dietary protein, we're talking like milk proteins leaking through, proteins from beef and fish and chicken. Because, when you think about it, everything you eat is made of 3 macro categories. It's proteins, fats, and carbs. If those undigested protein pieces leak across the membrane, they go straight to the liver. And again, the liver's kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, you're not supposed to be here.
Right. You're in the wrong place.
You're a protein that I now have to deal with. And that creates a load of stress and inflammation on the liver. So it can be a toxic chemical overload. It can be an infectious sort of pathogenic overload. It can be a dietary protein overload. And here's the toughest of them all. But it can also be it
could be a neurologic overload, right? And this one's my favorite because as a chiropractor and influencing people's nervous systems every day to help them heal, this is definitely my favorite. So if you have past emotional or physical trauma even, that can lead to a massive overload to your liver. And there's one really specific reason why, right? The nervous system, it's not like the nervous system just exists to send signals. There's a lot of chemical products that have to be created to allow those signals to be sent.
Yeah.
So there's all these chemical processes that are happening, and then they're forming other chemical conjugates, and they're forming other proteins and other waste products, we'll call them. And so when you have a lot of mental or emotional trauma that your body has had to deal with over the years, there's going to be a lot of this buildup on the back end of these chemical compounds.
Yep.
And where are they going to end up? In your liver. Your liver has to detox those.
So here's the challenge. Detoxification is something that's based upon efficiency.
Yes.
So like, for example, if you're a really efficient detoxifier, you could be exposed to X quantity of toxins and it doesn't affect you. I get exposed to the same X quantity of toxins and it knocks me out to the point where I have chronic sickness, illness, disease. We'll talk about symptoms.
So what you're saying is that different people's livers can detox at different rates.
Oh, absolutely. And the efficiency of your detoxification is based upon how well are you at phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. Again, I know this is going to sound weird. We're not saying are your liver enzymes normal. So therefore, when your medical doctor runs your ALTs and your ASTs and your GGTs and your SGOTs, these are called LFTs, liver function tests. So if you've ever heard like on those, medical TV shows, run an LFT.
Yep.
They mean run a liver function test. That is not a liver function test.
No.
I hate the fact that medicine says run a liver function test. What they should say is run an enzyme panel to see if the liver is diseased. And if AST, ALT, LDH, SGOT, GGT, if these come back normal, don't think that means you have a highly efficiently functioning liver. You have to actually have a true liver detox functional test, an LDFT as we call it.
Yep.
And what we're doing is we're not looking at your enzymes. We're looking at the efficiency of glutathione, methylation, sulfonation, glucuronidation. We actually have a urine panel that can show us, is phase 1 functional or not? Is phase 2 functional or not? And here's the kicker. Most people we test are inefficient.
Yep.
Now, here's what's so good about inefficiency testing. Yours comes back 40% deficient. Mine comes back 60. Well, you're better than I am, but you still have a problem. But I'm going to be the one who's complaining horrifically of anxiety and joint pain and fatigue and IBS and headaches. And, I'm going to have blood sugar swings like crazy. I might even have diagnostic conditions, fatty liver, high cholesterol, irritable bowel. I might complain to you like I'm sinusy and congested. But do you see this? An MD would go, well, we have a pill for all of those.
Right.
Whereas someone like you would be like, whoa, wait a minute, 60% inefficient. Why? We turn the page on the report and it says you're not methylating properly, or you've got low glutathione, or there's ammonia toxicity because you're not glucuronidating properly.
Yep. Or there's a heavy metal that's been building up and it's been there for years and you don't even realize it.
Yes. So think of it like this. There's kind of 3 different things that can happen. Number 1, if you are inefficient in your liver detoxification process, when those become blocked up and hindered, it's this cascade of events. So for example, if there's already an inflammatory compound like a toxin, well, then it's going to make the liver more inflamed because it's inflammatory. And because it can hinder sometimes the second phase, then the liver can't actually tag it for release.
Exactly.
And now it says, whoops, I let that toxin go back in the bloodstream. That is called autotoxification. But now here's the problem with that. That slipped through toxin now inflames another organ, like your joints or your heart or whatever. Now watch, it can then recirculate back to the liver again. And it's like a second chance. Will it grab it again? And typically it doesn't.
So, Dr. Ernst, do I hear you talking about autoimmunity?
So yes, but no. I use the word autotoxification in that you are adding the toxins back into your body. Autoimmunity comes later as this happens over and over and over again. Because think of it like this. The current theory of autoimmunity is that somehow the immune system has confused itself and is now attacking you. But I don't believe that.
No.
I don't believe the creator of the universe, who is, all powerful, all knowing, all encompassing, would say, I'm going to make an immune system that goes, whoops. I think what it is that it's a desperate attempt to shut off the constant reinfection and retoxicity of the tissue. and that we have accidentally labeled these antibodies as being against a tissue, when in fact, I think they're toxin antibodies or chronic viral antibodies, and they get labeled as being autoimmune when they're actually not.
Yes.
It's just the downstream effects of years and years of retoxifying, because then you see things like psoriasis, which they claim is autoimmune, is actually toxification of the skin.
Right. So let me just see if I can use your own words back and make sure I make sense of this. So you're saying that if there's a toxic compound that slips through the liver,
Yep.
that compound somehow gets recycled into, let's say, an elbow joint, for example.
It can, or
but then
an
the
organ.
body or an organ, and then the body kicks it back to the liver because it recognizes, whoa, it can't be there at that joint or organ. It gets kicked back to the liver. The liver lets it slip through again. It goes back to wherever that organ or joint is, and then that cycle just repeats itself over and over and over,
until
maybe hundreds of thousands of times.
Yep.
Right, until either the liver catches it and then is actually able to conjugate it, do whatever it needs to, so it can then go from phase 1 to phase 2.
Boom.
Or at some point, this has happened so many times, now the body may say, whoa, we've got to try to do something. That's what might trigger the antibody response.
Yes.
That's what might trigger
Yes.
that autoimmune reaction that you're discussing.
Yes. So things like rheumatoid arthritis and
Exactly.
scleroderma and psoriasis of the skin or the joints, or
Yep.
lupus, or just think of any autoimmune disease.
Right.
Those, in my opinion, they don't just show up on day one. Most people will have some health issue for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and then they get diagnosed with autoimmunity. But the sad reality is, in a medical world, there's no way to stop the autoimmunity other than trying to turn the immune system off with steroids or some sort of like medication that hinders the strength of the immune system.
Right. And I've got one, and I know this is diving into a bunch of other topics that we discuss on other webinars, but you've got a patient who is born normal. They become an adult and things still seem normal, but next thing you know, a virus shuts down their pancreas and they become type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
Right? So they're no longer producing insulin to regulate their sugar. Then after another couple of years go by, they're managing the diabetes medically.
By injecting insulin.
Yep. Another couple of years go by. Next thing you know, they start to develop like this autoimmunity within their intestines, and they're diagnosed with celiac disease.
Yeah.
And so the celiac disease is the autoimmune condition that's associated with the inability now for their intestines to regulate certain things that are going through. Maybe there's a gut leak, maybe there's some dysregulation now that the insulin's gone, whatever it is. But because their liver no longer is communicating appropriately with the intestinal organs, now you see this autoimmunity
Absolutely.
kick in effect.
And this is overlooked so many times, because like, what's the classic response of a medical physician when autoimmunity comes back? Is it, let's take a look at your liver and see how well you're cleaning yourself out?
If
No,
only.
it's more meds to the liver, which only stress it out further.
Right. Further toxify
And I'm going to be
it.
transparent. I don't care what prescription you're on for whatever condition you have, or if you're that, oh my God, I hope you don't do this, but if you're the classic person who pops over-the-counter pills for the random things in their life, a Claritin because they can't breathe during the fall,
Yep.
allergies, or a Motrin and Advil, a Goodies powder because something hurts.
Yeah. A
That
NyQuil.
stresses your liver out and only aggravates the healing that you can get if your liver's working.
Right, and I just got to throw this one out really quick because it keeps popping up and I keep hearing it, or someone's talking about it and being like, oh my gosh, I haven't been sleeping well. Melatonin's not working. That's a whole nother conversation. But you know what? I've been taking NyQuil and sleeping like a baby every night.
Well, you can chemically fall asleep with it, but what does it do to your liver?
Exactly.
It's only making your liver worse,
Exactly.
which means 1 teaspoon of NyQuil eventually turns into 2, and then it turns into it doesn't work anymore. And then those people will go get Lunesta or
Yep.
some sort of prescription. That's only worse. So just understand this. We have 8 benefits of you fixing your liver. And when you listen to these 8, you're going to be like, I want all of them.
Yes.
And you're going to go into much greater detail on
my
your
gosh.
webinar over these
100%.
8. But you have to understand, a healthy liver is a healthy you. Why? Your liver actually physically talks to your brain. Master nerve system talks to your gut. Secondary system. So if the brain and the liver and the gut talk to each other well,
Yep.
guys, it's an orchestra of healing. And I know it sounds weird because it just happens by itself.
It does.
So Let's go through these 8. I think number 1 should be the whole reason you'd want to do this.
Exactly. And this is kind of
this
like
is what
a little
everybody wants.
And this is a teaser to my webinar coming up on October 29th.
Yeah, and with that, before we go through these 8, let's do this, okay? The ebook is free that has these 8 listed in it. The ebook will give you steps on how you can check your energy right now, even at-home tests. And the webinar is free on the 29th, but it's only for those of you who pick up the phone or text your name and email. Like, we don't let anybody except those who use that special code and number on. And technically, you know, like the amount of information he's giving away, and this book alone, $50 like admission at the minimum, even like $100 admission. But guys, it's free. Like, we're giving the book to you for free through the email, and we're giving you access to the webinar. So the number to dial or text is?
Yeah, guys, give us a call. Text us in 704-906-2094 with your first and last name and your email. That way we can get the information you need so that you can attend this webinar Saturday morning, October 29th. I think that's 3 weekends from now. And then we'll also get you that ebook as well.
And again, it's 704-906-2094. I believe if you're also watching our live stream, either up there or down there somewhere is also a link you can click, and it just takes you straight to it. Okay, number 1 of 8 reasons why you want a healthy liver.
Yeah.
Let's go through it.
Increased energy and weight loss. So, guys, if I asked you, I was like, well, which macronutrient, fats, sugars, or protein do you primarily use for energy in your body? Most of you would get it right and say, oh, well, sugars. Well, of course. So when we talk about your liver being the primary detox organ, did you also know that your liver is the primary storage organ for sugars, right? Your liver will convert glucose into glycogen. That glycogen is the stored form of sugar, and it's just hanging out there waiting to be said, hey, we need to go to this organ or go to this muscle to be used to make energy.
But word of caution, ready? It's not actually stored sugar when it's glycogen, it's fat.
Yes.
So the liver can take sugar and turn it into fat as stored fat that we have termed glycogen. But glycogen is actually a fat molecule.
Right.
So the more sugar you're storing, the more fats in your liver. And now the fattier your liver, and fatty liver can set you up for health issues.
Right.
So you need to burn that fat instead of storing it.
Yes.
So when you have a healthy liver, it actually burns fat for energy, not sugar.
And that's the whole point of optimizing both your phase 1 and your phase 2 detox pathways.
Yes.
Because it's going to be able to say, instead of your liver going, well, we'll just take the sugar, convert it to this fatty glycogen substance, it's going to reverse that and say, whoa, let's take the glycogen, we got to break it down, and then it's going to be back into sugar or back into molecules that can be used to make energy.
So if you're doing everything right, you've become a vegan and you're CrossFitting 6 days a week and you're not losing weight, liver, if you're going like, I've done every Monster, Red Bull, energy drink, I'm even like getting B12 injections and drinking B12 shots, liver, because if your liver's working, you don't need any of those. Now, this is a huge one that I talked about, just today, actually.
Yep.
I just finished my thyroid webinar this morning. And your liver is actually more responsible for your thyroid health than you've ever given it credit for. Think of it like this. Your thyroid secretes a hormone called T4. Some people take T4 as like Synthroid or levothyroxine or Tyrosine, but that molecule, that hormone, is inactive. It's useless, but it travels through the bloodstream into the liver, and the liver says, oh, look, T4, turn it into T3. It converts the inactive to the active, and T3 gives you energy, makes you lose weight, resets your thyroid. Now, the one challenge we've seen is if your liver is really toxic, you mess that conversion up and you get something called reverse T3, which is actually another hormone like estrogen and progesterone and other hormones.
Yes.
So when our T3 is high, fatigue and brittle nails and your hair falls out and your brain fogs and you've got all the classic symptoms of a hypothyroid, and your doctor's going to go, well, let's just give you more meds.
Right.
In fact, it's your liver, not your thyroid. So you can have better thyroid function if you clean out your liver. That's
Absolutely.
Number 2.
Yes, and that was perfect. You talking about the reverse T3 being similar to an estrogen molecule, because this goes into number 3, which is hormone balance. And that's because the liver is one of the organs that is highly responsible for metabolizing estrogen after it's been utilized in your body for whatever, packaging it up.
And then, testosterone. So it's not just for women, right?
Right,
Both
yes,
estrogen and
too.
testosterone.
Yep, but packaging those up and then allowing your body to eliminate them safely. And so you can imagine if your liver is super toxic, you're not going to be able to do that the way that it's designed. And that can lead to a lot of things like, number one, weight gain, right? But also symptoms of PMS in females, or a lot of anxiety and other neurological issues as well, because they act as almost a neurotransmitter that's going to change the brain chemistry.
Yep. And listen, ladies, night sweats, the hot flashes, it must be menopause. No, it's more than likely your liver isn't fully getting rid of the toxic estrogens. And as estrogen levels elevate in a 40 plus female, you're going to get symptoms as if you're going through menopause. So the liver will get rid of the estrogen excess and help the whole system to rebalance.
And how common is it today for most females? And, we're talking about the demographic, maybe, middle teens, when birth control, if they start on birth control to whenever they choose
to make their skin clear, right?
Skin clear, or to stop the pain of their monthly cycle, or whatever it ends up being. And so now we have these women taking these high doses of estrogen and progesterone, and they're estrogen dominant already. Can you imagine, ladies, if you're listening to this, what could happen with all that estrogen if your liver is toxic? Not good things.
This is why they've connected, unfortunately, early use of contraceptives to breast cancer, uterine cancer.
Exactly.
For women, more specifically. Okay, number 4, and you're going to connect the dots. Hopefully you will when I say this. You can have severe relief from autoimmune conditions when you fix your liver. Why? Well, we talked earlier. The liver talks to the gut. The gut's primarily your autoimmune driver, because when you have toxins and bacteria and viruses floating around consistently year after year after year after year, you're going to build antibodies, and those are against the tissues or the joints or the chemicals. So an autoimmune disease develops when your immune system is like, hey, I've done everything I can to try to do the job of the liver.
Exactly.
But I can't. So the only thing I have left is I'm going to fling an antibody to try to destroy the toxin or the pathogen. And unfortunately, like dropping a grenade in a room to clear out roaches, you blow the room up at the same time.
Yep, exactly.
So remember, you're not attacking your joints, you're not attacking your tissues, you're attacking the toxins or the chronic infection that your liver was like, it's too hard, and they let that slip through. Yep. When you reduce toxic exposure and you improve the efficiency of your liver, now all those toxins and bacteria are pulled out, and the immune system gets to go, hey, I don't see as much anymore. Hey, antibodies, calm down. The war is over. We don't need you. And guess what? Everything starts to feel better.
Yep.
And labs can improve for things like Hashimoto's, thyroid, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, scleroderma, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Exactly. And that leads really well into this next one too, which we've already chatted about, the chemicals that you're putting in and on your body. And so if you can reduce chemical sensitivities, that's going to really, really help with, well, let me put it this way. How many of you, when you're walking down the perfume aisle, or you go into like a hardware store and there's lots of chemicals used in the hardware store,
or you get like a new piece of furniture, you know, it's like that stench.
Yep. And that instantly gives you a headache. You're like, gosh, I got a migraine or that tension headache for the rest of the day. What does your mind do? Do you immediately think, uh-oh, it's something going on just up here where the pain is? Or should you think, my liver's toxic? Well, that's most likely what it is. If you cleared out the liver toxicities, if you took away whatever was causing your phase 1, your phase 2 liver detox processes to not work right, your body wouldn't have to go and have this stimulated effect to create that headache. So if you're getting that, there's already liver toxicity going on. It's not like, oh, I went down the aisle, I smelled this perfume, my liver became toxic, and then I got the headache. It's nope, you walk down the aisle, you already have this toxic liver for weeks, months, years maybe, and it's giving you that headache every single time.
And this is called multiple chemical sensitivity syndrome. So it actually is diagnostic. There's a lot of people that have this. They're the people who will say like, I can't stay in this hotel because I can smell the mold. And you're like, I don't smell anything. I can't go in that store, Bath and Body Works, Sephora, because I'm going to have a raging headache for 4 days if I do.
Right.
Or, you know, like I can't eat this food because it rips me to shreds. They're very sensitive to things. So what happens when you clean out your liver?
Yeah.
Those sensitivities.
Sensitivity goes away and you can go in those stores.
You get your life back.
That's right.
Okay, number 6, improved cholesterol. Now, this is huge because I don't think enough people connect the dots that liver and cholesterol, they go hand in hand. Your liver makes cholesterol. Your liver regulates your cholesterol. Your liver determines your cholesterol levels. So if you have high cholesterol and you're using a statin or some sort of cholesterol lowering drug, I want you to understand two things are happening. The drug itself is making your liver more toxic, which will elevate your cholesterol, which makes you need to take more drug. If I was a big pharma company, I'd be like, yeah,
it's a good business model.
The more they'll need, we can make their cholesterol worse by giving them a pill. And so you just understand, okay? If you want your cholesterol to improve, hands down, number one, get phase 1 and phase 2 detox working, because I'm going to share you a secret that no one ever talks about. Cholesterol can bind toxins. So if you have a lot of toxins, your liver is going to make a lot of cholesterol. It's a sticky, waxy substance that can grab toxins. But now, the number one toxin cholesterol grabs are the living biotoxins: mold, Lyme, viruses, bacteria, parasites. If it's a living toxin, like an organic toxin, then cholesterol goes up. Not like if you have high mercury, that's an inorganic,
heavy
or
metal.
like lots of glyphosate or something. But if you have a living pathogenic toxin, which I hate to say it, a lot of people do, cholesterol goes up because the cholesterol is trying to grab that toxin since the liver can't, as it sticks to it. So the excess cholesterol is actually pushed out into the blood to act like a sticky molecule and try to grab toxins.
So you're saying that cholesterol is a good thing in this sense?
In this instance, it is the body trying to fix itself. But in the same token as whoops, you went autoimmune.
Right.
Whoops, you went super high, inappropriate cholesterol ratios. And the downstream effect is it can get stuck in things like your skin. Some people have cholesterol plaques around their eyes. They look like little warts that are white. And you can have it in your arteries and in your veins and things like that. Okay, so improving your liver health can help to drastically reset your cholesterol. And sometimes it happens in just like, 2-3 months.
That's right. It can happen super fast. That's a perfect segue again into this next one, which
Number 7.
Detoxing your liver. Number 7, getting clearer skin. It's similar to the chemical sensitivities, right? If you've got all these toxins that your body's not sure what to do with, it's going to constantly try to do something to get rid of them. So just like Dr. Ernst was describing, if you have these organic toxins that your body's going to produce cholesterol to go out and grab the organic toxins and help eliminate them, your body's going to take other toxins that it can't just organically eliminate and say, well, we'll try to push them through the skin. We'll try to push them through the pores. And so people that have these chronic rashes that might be diagnosed as psoriasis, or might look like there's something else going on.
Acne. Listen, acne is a big one, especially adult acne.
Exactly.
And eczema, psoriasis. But why is that happening? Like, is there a problem with the skin, or is it a reaction because the liver's now using the skin as a detox process?
Because the liver couldn't detox and then eliminate through the normal pathways as it was supposed to. The liver had to say, well, we need to find another exit point. And it found it. It pushed it to your skin.
Yeah. So literally the pores of your skin open up and the toxins are smushed through them as they excrete outwards. That'll look like pimples and whiteheads and crustaceans and rashes, because again, they're toxins.
Yes.
So the skin tissue gets irritated, but it's kind of like, well, we'll sacrifice ourselves for you because you're going to die if we don't get these toxins out. So, for psoriasis, it's like it gets on their hands, it gets on their elbows. We're having an issue with our camera. Hopefully it comes back. Maybe it will. There it goes.
There we go.
And what happens is it gets all over.
Yes.
Now watch. If you clean your liver out, what happens to your skin?
The skin's going to clear up. Well, and here's the thing too, and we see this all the time with patients. I was talking about this earlier. Sometimes you start to clear the liver out and the liver goes, oh my gosh, I've also been holding on to these other toxins. Let's just push them all through. We're ready to go. And so you mobilize all these toxins. It gets pushed through the skin. The person may break out in this massive rash and they're going, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. What are you guys doing to me? We say, just hold on. Give it a week or two. Your body is working through pushing out so many toxins right now, and it's so important that you let that process happen.
That's kind of like you got to go through the valley of the shadow of death before you reach the promised land. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better.
Exactly. You got to enter the tunnel first, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but you've got to be willing to work through that to get to that
So
light.
We talked about increasing energy and losing weight.
Yep.
Function number 1 of having a good liver. Number 2, we talked about you could fix a thyroid issue if your liver's clean. You could have better female and male hormone balance. You could have massive relief from an autoimmune disease. You can get rid of the sensitivities some of you guys have. You're so allergic to life, right? You could improve your cholesterol. You could clean out your skin. But the last one is what everybody always wants to, right? We save the best for last. Take it away, Dr. Chris.
Yeah, so reducing your brain fog. So if you are struggling to remember things for long periods of time, it's no surprise that when you're overworked and you've got this liver that's not functioning properly, it's going to cause toxins that are going to accumulate in your bloodstream. And guess what? They're going to make their way to your brain. And they're going to bypass that blood-brain barrier. And before you know it, you're going to have poor concentration, poor memory, anxiety, depression, brain fog. You're not going to feel like you're getting great quality sleep, all because those toxins are there and they're just poisoning specific pathways.
And again, remember, it's a combination of, it's either a inorganic toxin, the chemicals and lotions and potions. I read a study once that said there's 80,000 identified chemical toxins. So think about this. We know about 80,000, but what about the millions we don't know about yet?
Exactly.
Then you have the living toxins, and so many of us deal with this. The viruses, the bacteria, the parasites, the fungus that's all in us. And it's not diagnostic in that you would wake up one day with like a head cold, a fever, chills. These are subclinical infections. Then you have this kind of like global issue of, again, how the nerve system is connecting. You have even emotional toxicity, the stress, the anxiety. So let's spend the next 15 minutes and give them some tidbits on how do you actually fix this. Okay, so like, are there some things they can eat or take that would increase not their liver enzymes, but the function of this phase 1 and phase 2 process?
Yeah, exactly. And you alluded to it earlier, actually, with your carrot example.
A carrot analogy, right?
But really important to get the phytonutrients in, which is in a lot of cruciferous vegetables. And specifically, they're going to have high levels of these things called glucosinolates, and they're going to become bioactive, right? The body's going to change them to become more bioactive, and they're going to help to regulate your phase 1 liver detoxification.
Yep. So a lot of these things are found in foods like broccoli, chard, dandelion, spirulina, some herbs, very famous for the liver, milk thistle, cinnamon, which is like a spice, turmeric, ginger. The key is all of these regulate an enzyme called cytochrome P450, which is one of the main enzymes found in both phase 1 and phase 2 liver detox. And we can get these things from food, but there's a really great way to sort of like eat specific food groups and use this process known as liver rest.
Yes.
This is where we start talking about, just like we want to heal a gut by giving it a break from eating foods, the best and most absolute way to heal your liver is just give it a rest and stop putting this stuff on you and in you. So it's kind of like this old concept of, we can detox you, but if you're constantly being exposed, it's kind of like, it's like giving you $100 and spending $100.
Same time.
So we somehow have to give you $500 and have you spend nothing.
Yes.
And the best way to do that for your liver is just take a break from eating anything and fast and give your liver the essential nutrients it needs during that fast, which is basically water. Yeah. And that's about it. Like it really doesn't take too much. Now, could you use bone broths that people use to seal their gut? Yes.
Sure.
Could you do like a salted lemonade mixture? People have heard of the like master cleanse. I like it, but just don't do the maple syrup because again, you don't want to give your liver a bunch of sugar to have to deal with. So use the water and the cayenne pepper and the lemon juice to make a spicy lemonade. Or like what we do, we substitute the cayenne pepper for salt to make a salted lemonade because you do need certain nutrients in order for the phase 1 and phase 2 process to work.
Yep. And I'll say too, don't just stop at food. If you're using certain deodorants, if you're using certain makeups, those are all the chemicals, really easy things that you can just stop using.
Yep.
Even for a couple of days to, again, give your liver the break that it needs.
So I'm going to give you what are called the botanical compounds that activate phase 1 and phase 2. And then Dr. Chris is going to give you some specific supplement recommendations. Okay, you have to learn these, all right? Are they in our ebook? Yes. Are they going to be talked about on the webinar? Yes.
Definitely.
So you've got to take some action right now. If you want to clean your liver out and get those 8 benefits of weight loss and energy and clearer skin and, no more autoimmunity and I'm trying to think of the others, less brain fog and better cholesterol and better
hormone
hormones.
balance.
Like, how could you not want 8 things for doing one thing, clean your liver?
Yep.
Okay, phase 1 and phase 2 supports. I'm going to list them. You can download this and get them in our ebook. Milk thistle is a fantastic liver supporter. It affects both phase 1 and phase 2. Dandelion root extracts. These are where they take the roots of the dandelion plant and they soak it in either water or alcohol. So you can put that into the water you're drinking while you're doing your fast. Panax ginseng, a great one. Glutathione. I wonder why. Because glutathione is phase 2 detox.
Yes.
So if you give yourself more glutathione, then you can actually enhance it. Glycine and N-acetylcysteine are the precursors for glutathione. So you take the Lego building blocks, you let your liver make the glutathione. And D-L-methionine, it's a specific left and right isomer of an amino acid called methionine. I like that list. You know why? They support both phase 1 and phase 2. Could we go deeper and say, well, these things can help phase 2 and these things can help phase 1? Yes, but just know you basically need milk thistle, dandelion, some Panax ginseng, glutathione, glycine, N-acetylcysteine, or NAC as they call it, NAC, and some methionine. If you were to stir all of that into a glass of water or take them as supplements while you're fasting to let your liver clean itself out, now you've turned on both phase 1 and phase 2, and those 8 benefits will start to kick in.
Exactly.
What are some specific supplements they could use to also do this?
Yeah, well, the main supplements center around the specific antioxidants. So much of the damage that will accumulate in the liver is a result of what's called free radical damage. And so antioxidants are going to help to bind with these free radicals and eliminate them from the body. So the best thing you can do is take more of these antioxidants to help support your liver's detox process.
So give me an example. If I want to take an antioxidant, what am I taking?
Well, they're real easy. Vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, zinc, N-acetylcysteine, like you already said, coenzyme Q10, and curcumin, which is the active ingredient found in turmeric.
Turmeric, yeah. So these are the root antioxidants.
Exactly.
Now, there is this process that we would call helping the liver to burn fat. So lipotropic factors, as they're called.
Yep.
It increases bile secretion and it increases the ability for you to burn fat. Now, these are very unique, so you're going to need to download that ebook.
Exactly.
But we'll give them to you right now, but you need to know exactly how to use these for maximum benefit. It's in the ebook and it's going to be discussed to a degree on the webinar.
Yes.
So you read the list and I'll tell them how to get on that webinar again.
That's right. Okay, so things that are going to help with that process, these lipotropic factors, and then other processes, especially within the phase 2 detox pathways, you need choline, which is needed for methionine metabolism. Then there's methionine, which is going to help prevent the glutathione that Dr. Ernst was talking about from being depleted.
Broken down.
So you see how some of these things are all starting to cycle together and work together now. Carnitine, specifically L-carnitine, is going to inhibit alcohol-induced fatty liver disease.
And that's one of my most favorites because if you get the correct isomers of L-carnitine, you actually make the liver burn the fat storages and you can defatify a liver. That's a good word.
Delipotropicify the
I like
liver.
defatify. You can get the fat out of your liver. Okay, next.
Yes. Okay, so specific amino acids. We already discussed methionine, but then there's also a bunch of essential amino acids, right, which are building blocks for proteins, but taurine, glycine, and cysteine. Those are all methylation factors that are going to help with this process to convert methionine to glutathione.
And I know that some people are like, what? Oh, Greek again. Okay. These amino acids help your body to activate phase 1 and phase 2. Tag and remove. It's real simple, guys. Phase 1 says tag it. Phase 2 says remove it. If you tag it, but you don't remove it, it circulates through, and that's the symptomatology, the autoimmunity. But if you get it out, if it goes out either through your kidneys as a water-soluble toxin or bound to cholesterol in your bile as a fat-soluble toxin, boom, they come out.
Yes, and exactly. Okay, and lastly, you need vitamins B6, B9, and B12.
Yeah.
And those are all really important cofactors that are going to support a lot of the methylation, sulfonation processes that are going to occur with it.
So you know the amazing thing is we literally just gave you the secret on how to turn on phase 1 and phase 2 detox. What would be the benefit of doing this? Well, we just listed 8, including more energy, faster weight loss, better thyroid function, hormones balanced, no more night sweats or no more sort of like, PMS, pre-post menstrual pains and aches and things like that.
Exactly.
Relief from autoimmunity. I mean, that alone is worth it for anybody who struggles with psoriasis or eczema or rheumatoid arthritis, lupus. Okay, these autoimmune diseases are very dangerous.
They are.
You can get your life back because you're no longer sensitive to everything. Your cholesterol improves, your skin clears out, your brain comes back, your blood pressure drops, your sugars get better. Like, I don't know if you see it the way we see it. You got to pay attention to your liver.
Yes.
Now, do you see why it's the third healing system? If you fix your liver and you clean it out, you just engaged those 8 pathways. Now imagine if you also clean your gut out. And imagine if you reconnect your brain to your body.
That's right.
I think
The
that's
trifecta.
the unstoppable you.
The trifecta.
And listen, when Dr. Chris said at the top of the hour, we've seen people's diabetes go away in 90 days. We've seen cancer disappear in 6 months. We've seen blood pressure reset itself in 2 months. We've seen people's anxiety disappear and weight fly off. My God, like who was it last week? Don't name the name, but you know who I'm talking about. 68 something pounds down in 4 months.
That's right.
Naturally. And we have so many people that will like pull us aside, be like, oh my God, like I got my life back.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea how awesome I feel now. And they're often saying like, how can I thank you? And we're just like, hey, tell one person.
Exactly.
Like, just tell one person what you did and get them on the webinar that we have coming up. So here's your chance, guys. We're literally giving away an ebook that we wrote for free on how to rebuild your energy and your metabolism and get those 8 benefits. You have an option right now to get it at no cost. They just need to do what?
Yeah. Just call or text your first and last name and email address to 704-906-2094.
And again, 704-906-2094. What's in the ebook? Pages upon pages of why you're so tired and you can't lose weight.
Yep.
All the research, in case you're like one of those research junkies. Well, show me the proof of this. It's in the ebook.
There.
Then we have a lot of the nutrients and the diets that we listed for fixing out the liver, cleaning out your energy, and losing weight. We even have our supplemental lists. Everything is there. You just need to take an action and get it for free. Now, that number again, 704-906-2094. Take them a little bit through what you're going to do on the webinar on the 29th.
Yeah, absolutely. So we chatted about at the top of the hour about how your body breaks down the macronutrients that you consume, fats, sugars, proteins, and then those have to go somewhere in your body.
Yeah.
And a lot of that gets used to help make energy or to help make products that your body then needs to function normally. But then there's a lot of different pathways that energy has to go down, and there's a lot of different reasons why the energy doesn't quite get to where it's supposed to go, or your body doesn't produce the energy that it thought it was going to.
Yep.
And then there's the downstream effects of that. So we're going to dive into that. That's called metabolism. We're going to talk about why your metabolism is amazing, why your metabolism is less than amazing, and then what you can do specifically so that you can boost your metabolism, get the energy back, get rid of all the issues you're having, whether it's with sleep or staying awake at work, or whether it's deals with pain or whatever the functions. We're going to dive into the root systems that are going to help guide you so you can figure out what you need to do to have that energy.
I thought my metabolism is supposed to just slow down because I'm getting older.
That would just be, so I could just say the same thing about, I thought that I'm 60 years old now, I'm supposed to have a heart attack.
So what you're saying is I'm not supposed to have a slow metabolism, so I have to stop using that as my excuse to why I don't have what I have.
They're all just excuses.
There's always a reason. So if I'm hearing you right, let me translate.
Yep.
I heard you say you're going to teach people how to recharge their body, how to get more energy than you've ever had before, so much so that you have excess energy to lose weight, clear out your skin, lower your blood sugars, lower your blood pressure, have your hair grow back, like all of the above, because we're energetic beings, aren't we?
Well, exactly. And let's be honest, everybody listening right now, there's something in life that you so desperately want to be able to go and do, that you're craving to go out and do, whatever that may be. And maybe what's holding you back is just like, just not today. I've got too much else to do. What? That's an energy problem.
Yeah, it's energy.
Right. The second you solve that, now you have the ability to go and do that.
Yep.
That's what we want for you.
How exciting. Well, Dr. Chris, thank you for being our special guest for the day today.
Dr.
Hey, guys,
Ernst,
we come to you.
me.
Yes, we come to you each and every Saturday at 12 noon here on Fox Sports Charlotte. And I want to just throw out last. I mean, this is like, I know it's a couple weeks away, but be an early bird adopter, because if you do the tips and the techniques in the ebook now, by the time we get to the webinar, you might be a testimonial. You might be like, listen, I followed the ebook and my blood pressure is back to normal and I'm 20 pounds lighter. Like that can happen in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
But you got to get the book and you got to register. So what's the number? And then you can close this out.
704-906-2094. That's 704-906-2094. Your name and email.
See that right there? Like not just your email, guys. First and last name. First, last email. So whoever just sent that one with the email, we got it, but we need your name. Okay.
Yep. And so I just wanted to say quickly too, the webinar isn't just me going, blah, blah, blah. It's not just Dr. Ernst going, whoa, we've got all this information. This is interaction with
Engagement.
you. So if you are already taking action now, you already start your detoxification, your energy revitalization process now, we're going to be able to interact, we're going to be able to connect, and we're going to find way more answers to better your health on that webinar.
Yeah, and how about this? Maybe they get from 40 to 60 and it feels good, but they want to go 60 to 90.
That's right.
The webinar will show you how to do that.
Give you those answers.
Maybe you're like, what? But I didn't even know it. I need help now. Well, we'll get you from 0 to 50 using the webinar. So take action, guys, now. 704-906-2094. Hey, it's the Ask Dr. Ernst Show. We'll see you next week, 12 noon right here on Fox Sports Charlotte. Be blessed.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.